Welcome, Statesmen Nation, to our weekly press conference. A little bit lighter this week. Didn't have as many games as last week, anyhow, but are missing a couple of coaches and a bunch of student athletes. But we are very jazzed about having all of the coaches that we do here, as well as Sam Parsons from KBOE KMZN. So just around the horn quickly, and then we'll get right into the Q&A session. But we have Todd Hafner, top left corner, head football coach. Me right talking to you in top middle. Andy Commons, head women's soccer coach, in top right. Bottom left is Simon Brown, head men's soccer coach, and Caleb Drake is in the middle bottom, head cross country coach here at William Penn. And again, once again, Sam Parsons from KBOE KMZN radio here in Oskaloosa. So Sam, without further ado, if you are ready, let's pop off some questions to these coaches. I'm sure they're dying to talk about everything.
Okay, sure, sounds good. I guess I'll start from the top with Todd. And Todd, I know you didn't have the game last week, of course, with the storms going on Saturday, but I guess that just leaves us with practice. How's everything been going with practice so far, or at least within the last couple of weeks? Have you noticed any growth, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, as you guys continue to kind of grind through the new system here?
We have actually, and you bring up a good point. It's we finally have, we're finally to a point offensively where we think that we have our the complete playbook in. We've been able to just rep over and over again the plays that we feel confident with moving forward. We'll have a wrinkle week to week, but for the most part, everything's been in. We've been able to get some good work accomplished with repetitions and things like that. Young quarterbacks coming along, and so hopefully we can showcase the improvement that we've made this Saturday.
All right, thank you very much. That's all I had for Todd.
Very good.
If Wade, you had anything for him?
No, actually, Todd, I'm going to jump over to Andy since he's not feeling the greatest. I'm going to try to get him in and out here. So, Coach Collins, let's talk about yesterday's game. A great 1-1 tie with a always formidable Baker squad. Obviously, had to wait near 24 hours to be able to play that team, and obviously on a different surface than you were expecting. But just recap yesterday's game.
Well, first, I'll say that I'm extremely happy with the new rules that they've adopted in the conference this year, which is kind of follow suit with the rest of the world, where we don't have to play out a tie every game. So that kind of changes the entire dynamic of how you go into conference games and what's an acceptable outcome and what's not an acceptable outcome. So that being said, really super excited about yesterday's game. One, that's a good squad. That's a team that beat us at, I think, 4 or 5-0 last year, and largely similar squad. So to come back and play that well, they've had a good season so far, and at moments I thought we looked really, really good. I thought so did they. So it was a very pretty even game, and was excited to get a corner kick goal. An Olympico that was nice to get, and to kind of seal that tie, and to have no losses in our first 2 conference games. Pretty excited about that going forward.
Definitely. Yeah, just to confirm, it was 4-0 last year, and just looking stats real quick. I know this doesn't tell the whole story both ways, but it was 25-6 in their favor last year, and then yesterday 11-10. Sorry, I'm not looking at that one real quickly, but 11-10 in our favor yesterday. So totally different ball game. Obviously helps to be at home and all of that, but as you've been talking about this whole year, a lot of freshmen that you're playing, they're obviously starting to come to form. I'm just going to be really excited about their potential.
It is, and it's nice. I knew it was going to take us some time to get going, and they're the team is starting to gel now in terms of what our rotation is going to look like, and who's who in the zoo, and the freshmen having 4 or 5 games now under their belt, understanding the speed of play and the physicality of the game and those kind of things. The hope is that we continue to improve on this on the same glide path, and get into that conference tournament and represent really well this year.
Definitely. I'm going to fix that. 11-6 yesterday in shots was even better, a lot better. And that was a beautiful goal by Taylor Whithauer, bending it around the corner there in the corner. That's it's amazing, amazing shot, but great equalizer. Sam, do you have anything else for Coach Commons?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Just last time that we talked, kind of much was made about the little bit of a lull in your schedule that you had before the Graceland game and after the Briar Cliff game. Did you notice any level of rust, or did you mostly just notice that your players seemed well rested coming out of that break, or just how do you think the break treated your team?
I'm going to say the latter. I honestly saw no rust. We worked pretty hard in some inter squad scrimmages and those kind of things like that. But what we wore was fresher. It allowed us to get healthy. With so many games coming so fast, you pick up the knocks and they just stay with you all season. When you have a week break, it allows girls to get healthy and it allows us to put in some tough practices that you normally don't get. So I thought I have nothing but positives about that lull in the schedule, and I will be trying to mimic it again next year when we make the schedule.
Okay.
Awesome. Sam, anything else for Coach?
That was all I had for Coach Commons.
Okay. All right. Andy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Feel better quickly.
Thanks.
All right. See ya. Okay. Back to Coach Hafner. Coach, talk about Saturday night that wasn't, unfortunately. Just kind of recap that a little bit and the probably roller coaster of emotion, thinking, we're going to go into a game, and then it gets in the afternoon, and obviously weather started to get a little wild and wonky there, and had a couple chances without, man, maybe we'll be able to get back on the field, and obviously it wasn't to be.
Well, it's the uncertainty. You stand around, you sit around, you have your guys take their pads off. You have them put them back on. You have to take them back off. It's and there for the longest time we really thought we were going to catch a break. About 6:45 to 7 o'clock in that range, that it looked like the storm was starting to split and the lightning was going to lighten up. It potentially wasn't even going to rain anymore. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes another one and another one, and now you're looking at lightning at 8:15. You're not even looking at being able to get on the field until 8:45, and that's if nothing else happens. Evangel has a 6.5 hour trip back home. You start getting concerned about their bus drivers and some different things like that. They even looked into potentially staying another night, which was in the end not really feasible with the amount of rooms and players and meals and things. And it's frustrating at one point. It's you see why you have to do those things at another point, but in the end it's just awful for both teams. The kids have put in the work. I mean, we're not just talking about last week, we're talking about over the summer for the first 3 games. You've worked at implementing a game plan, and then you go and you don't get to play. It's gut wrenching to have to tell the kids that we're not going to play the game. And so as hard as it is, we have to understand that the reason that we do it, and we have to move forward. And so we gave the kids yesterday off, which typically we come in and lift and do some film stuff on Sunday, so they enjoyed their day off. We'll do a little bit of a walkthrough today and get ready to try and go win a game on Saturday.
Definitely. All right. Sam, anything else for Coach Hafner there?
I guess, yeah, it came up just that. How do you approach this as a coach? Obviously such a unique weekend like what you just had when you were preparing all week for this specific matchup and it didn't happen. Do you treat this week coming up before Missouri Valley as if the last week was more of a bye week, or how do you handle it relative to a normal week?
Well, we'll treat it more like it was a bye week, to be honest with you, because typically we give our kids Monday off. We're actually going to do a little bit of football related activity today because we gave them yesterday off. So we'll have a good walkthrough today. We'll get some good conditioning in. Usually Sunday's a conditioning day for us after a game, just to try and get the soreness out and different things like that. We don't necessarily have that, but we still need the conditioning aspect of it. So, we'll do some football stuff today for, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes or so. And and then get into our normal routine starting tomorrow.
All right, thank you. That's all I had for Todd.
Okay. Todd, if you want to obviously hang on, you can. But we're going to shift gears here over to soccer, the other side of soccer, and Coach Simon Brown. Simon, you were able to finally get your game, and obviously a little bit easier with Baker and being a conference game versus that non-conference crossover for football. But are able to play the Wildcats yesterday. Unfortunately, not the result you were looking for. But let's recap yesterday's game against Baker.
Yeah, it was a a strange one with everything that happened on Saturday. Same too. This is our third Saturday in a row where we've been dealing with weather delays. So not nothing that is uncommon. It's just a different outcome that we had. So against Morningside, we sat around for 4 hours waiting for the game. Against Hannibal, we moved the game 4 hours early to play the game. And then this time the game didn't get played in. We had to play on a Sunday morning, which is Sunday's our off day, which is obviously unique. And then we change it over to we play and practice on grass, and then we have to switch to play on the turf. Game gets delayed another hour because we're painting the lines on the turf, and then Baker plays on turf. So just a lot of those things and a lot of those factors, I think, just got the better of us coaches and players, and constantly adapting, like 10 a.m. on a Saturday, 11 a.m. on a Sunday. Sorry, playing a game. Just a lot of those things, I think, were big factors in just their performance and energy and all those things. And obviously, I'm not trying to make excuses. The game was the game, but just it's important to factor those things in because they have such a big implication on everything. So as far as the game goes, I think our guys struggled to get going, and by the time they did, they were 2-0 down. And I think that just had a compounding effect on the game, and I think that just carried over to everything else. So, like I said, trying to figure out what went wrong, and what we can work on, all those things, so that we can start scoring goals and start winning games again.
Sam, any questions for Coach Brown?
Well, I mean, obviously, the final score not never going to tell the full story, but with just 0 goals last 2 games, what are you going to be looking at offensively in practice to try to get things going again, like you guys had it going earlier in the season?
Yeah, so to make it sound worse, there's actually 0 goals from open play in the last games because we're the so like the thing is, we're creating lots of chances. We need to find the right guys at the right moment for the goals. A lot of different rotation to different forwards. And for some reason, we just can't get the ball to hit the back of the net. And to sum up what's happening, and again, I don't want to seem like I'm making excuses, but we haven't conceded a goal inside 20 yards this season. Every goal that's been scored on us has been outside 25 yards. So teams are scoring incredible goals on us from miles away, and then we're missing tap ins inside the box. So I think we just need to learn how to score some scrappy goals, be comfortable taking those shots and taking those chances because teams are doing it against us and scoring. So again, we just need to really redefine our attacking abilities, both as a team collectively, and then the individuals that are in the moment in the game, taking those shots and scoring those goals. I think that's going to be really important moving forward.
All right, thank you.
Simon, moving forward here, looking at the Clark matchup on Wednesday night. That is a team that is obviously really improved. Clark used to be kind of a for lack of a better term, and not to disregard them or anything, but kind of a doormat, and they just tied the #1 team in the nation on Saturday. So obviously at home, but still, and they didn't get terribly outshot. Only 17-6, but gave a really good representation of themselves and maybe who they are. So what are you looking at with Clark?
Yeah, I think the important thing for us and for Clark is that whatever happened in the past is irrelevant.
Right.
Whatever we've done in the last season, the seasons past, it doesn't matter. So every team changes every year. So everyone's always like, oh, CMU this, Mo Valley that, Mid America that. It's like Clark don't care about that. They don't care about William Penn's gone to national tournaments. They've just been looking after themselves. And I think that's important for them because they're trying to really push. And I know their coach really well, Mike. He's extremely passionate, and he's talked the last couple of years is just he's dying to get his team to the playoffs because they never had. And I said they won their first conference game. They last season they were one win away from making the playoffs. And now they're in a position where they have a fantastic squad. He asked, and I know him really well. He's a friend. He asked a lot of stuff about how do we recruit and what do we do, and I've been able to help him, and you can see that in the results that they have, and I'm happy for Mikey, and we just have to do a great job of just playing the team that's in front of us, not playing on the history, not playing against, oh, you're playing against a Clark, you're playing against a good team, and it doesn't matter what you think they are or what they've done in the past, because it's still 11 guys in front of you that want to beat you on Wednesday.
All right. Sam, again, we're good with Coach Brown. Any other questions there?
That's all I got. Thank you very much for your time, though.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. All right. Last but not least, Caleb Drake. I think you end up always last, so you need to get on
No worries.
Zoom a little earlier.
It's not a problem.
All right, Caleb, you were idle this past week. So let's talk about just preparing for the next week. You guys have sorry, should have this in front of me. You're at Grandview. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure I was right. You're over in Des Moines on Saturday, and just talk about, I guess, having the week off and what training was like, and moving forward from there.
Yeah, and kind of the flow of the season, how it works is we come into a season, and a lot of times the team will look at our schedule and go, we only have 5 meets. So what in the world is that? But then once we get into that aspect of season and we have a few weeks of training, do a meet, it allows us to get into a really nice rhythm to have every other week with the meet and then training through the other weeks. So we're coming off of a great week of training. It allows us to have a little more flexibility about when we can do some work during the week. So like if we need to do a 6 a.m. workout to beat the heat at this time of year, or like Saturday we practiced. I let the team decide. I was like, hey, the weather's supposed to be bad. Yeah, parents' weekend. What time do we want to go? And they were like, let's go at 7. So we got out there and beat the Lightning to town, and it helps in that way, just to be able to control our training a little more between our meets. And so we had a great week, and I think the team's pretty encouraged and excited to get to now showcase some of that work this weekend. Again, we're not going to do anything really different than we did last week as far as our day-to-day stuff goes. So any results we see for this week will be just based off of 2 or 3 weeks prior, and the extra strength training that comes into that, and then obviously different course conditions or weather and those sorts of things. So
talk about the course a little bit over in Des Moines. I assume it's the normal course that they run at.
I've never been there
Okay.
personally, so I've never been to this meet. The team has in the past. As far as the description I've been given is it's rolling hills that are not very big, and fairly flat otherwise, and they kind of run around DMAX campus. So if you've been there, you might maybe have an idea of what the course lay is, if it's flat or but my team's told me that based on their experience, it's fairly flat, a little hill at the back of the course, and really a big reason why we're going to this meet is it's our chance to get on the conference meet course. They're hosting conference at this course this year, so this will be our chance to really just get to know the course as much as we can, experiment with some different moves during the race, to see how that works, and then we can apply that knowledge once we get 5-6 weeks down the road at conference.
Definitely. Sam, questions for Coach Drake?
Unfortunately, Wade, you kind of stole it from me. I was going to ask about the course at Des Moines, so that was pretty much all I had. But thank you for the very thorough answer, Coach Drake.
Yeah, no problem. I can give you probably a more detailed answer after I see it.
Right.
I could be completely lying to you without knowing right now. It might be hilly as heck. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like a different course than what they've run in the past. They've ran over by on the southeast corner. I can't think of where I'm thinking, but southeast corner in the past when I've gone to a meet. So I'm not sure if that's the same place. Doesn't sound like it. Weather looks pretty favorable for you. 79 right now, which probably won't even be anywhere close to that when you guys are actually racing. So should be looking at some really nice weather.
Yep, definitely. I think that's a key, that sometimes when you're in a hot part of your season, and we're doing workouts in the afternoon at times, and it's really tough to just remind the team that if we put this work in now, during this strenuous time when it's extra stress on our body, when that weather does turn, you're going to feel that much more confident and better physically. There's some studies I could go into. Sometimes I compare humidity training, because they do some studies on it with altitude training, and so we're getting a double benefit sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's just, hey, we got to power through, and yeah, nice weather is always a good thing. That's the beauty of cross country season. We're starting to get into cross country weather about when the leaves change. So,
Right, definitely. All right. Sam, any final questions for any of the coaches still with us?
That's all I got for this morning. Just thanks again to all the coaches for making it out.
Great. All right. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. We will hopefully see you again next Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time here for the weekly press conference. Thanks again to Coach Hafner, Coach Brown, Coach Drake, as well as Coach Commons. And once again, Sam Parsons from KBOE KMZN. Thank you for serving as media this morning. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week.
Thanks.
Thanks.